Aloha and welcome back. Yes, it has been a while. I've been doing a lot with my stepson, a lot of basketball, some beaches, and other things, basically touching grass. But I'm back now. We're going to cover this Zohran Mamdani from across the spectrum, from many different angles. Right now, we're just going to hear the question of him, of Trump calling him a threat and his answer to that. And then we're going to look at some other people talking about him. So we'll hear about some left and right wingers over the next week or so. We'll be talking about him pretty much every day. Let's go.
So I'll start with the buses. A few years ago, my then chief of staff, now campaign manager, L. Bisgard Church, and I started a listening tour with transit experts, advocates, and the MTA itself. And it was in a meeting with senior officials at the MTA where someone remarked to me that if you really cared about equity, you would focus first on the buses. And it was a suggestion, and I took it to heart. Because what it spoke to is the fact that bus riders are disproportionately working class across these 5 boroughs. There are more than 1 million New Yorkers who ride them every day. And these are the slowest buses in the country. When I am late and I am getting off of the train and I'm walking up the steps, I'm walking faster than that bus. The average speed is 8 miles an hour. In parts of Manhattan,
That's
it's lower
crazy.
than 6. And what New Yorkers deserve is a way to get around this city that makes sense. And they deserve
There you go.
a system that is reliable, that is safe, that is efficient. And as an assembly member who, alongside the Deputy Majority Leader Mike Gianaris in the state Senate, won the first fare-free bus pilot, we saw that in making a bus free, it wasn't just economic relief. It was that ridership then went up by up to 38%. It was public safety, as assaults on bus drivers went down by 38.9%. And it was also a question of the environmental impacts, as 11% of new riders got out of a car or a taxi and got onto the bus. One of the many things that makes me proud to be a New Yorker is public transit. And as I speak to New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs, I hear their desire for world-class public transit. And to make a bus free is to take one significant step towards that. And I'm excited to work with Governor Hochul, who has been laser focused on the question of affordability, and with the MTA in identifying the revenue that will pay for this and in actually bringing it into effect such that every New Yorker can benefit from what we already saw those 5 routes bring about.
So he's gonna go into Trump now, but basically with the transit and the bus thing, I agree with pretty much everything he said. I think transit should be free or very cheap, but basically free. Just put it in the tax. Like it's a public thing. Just if you taxed everybody, probably like 0.2% or 0.3%, something really low, you could have free transit in every city. I'm pretty sure.
Yesterday, Donald Trump said that I should be arrested. He said that I should be deported. He said that I should be denaturalized.
And then, speaking of that, Donald Trump talked about his political enemies trying to jail him and things like that, which they did. The Democrats did try to put Donald Trump in jail. But then he's going to go at his political enemies, Donald Trump that is, and do the same thing, either deport them, excommunicate them, jail them. They're all the same. They're just stupid.
And he said those things about me, someone who stands to be the first immigrant mayor of this city in generations.
And when I say they're all the same, hopefully Zoran's different. He's coming in just now. He's not talking the way that most Democrats do and Republicans do, but most Democrats and Republicans are the same. I think Zoran's in the wrong party. Like, it helps that he won this primary, so that's going to help him win the election. But I think after he wins the election, as the Green Party, we should go try to pull him and see if we can get him to switch.
Someone who would also be the first Muslim and the first South Asian mayor in this city's history. Less so because of who I am, because of where I come from, because of how I look or how I speak, and more so because he wants to distract from what I fight for. I fight for working people. I fight for the very people that have been priced out of this city, and I fight for the same people that he said he was fighting for. This is the same president who ran on a campaign of cheaper groceries, who ran on a campaign about easing a suffocating cost of living crisis.
Right, cheaper groceries, and then when he gets in, he says, "Oh, sometimes the prices just don't go down, or prices don't go down, or whatever." He said something like that. But then, if you have government or city-owned grocery stores, you just set the price. You don't need to make profit. You just make enough to keep the lights on, pay people, whatever salary and things like that. You don't have to make a huge profit for the owner because the owner is the city. And then if they did make some profit, the profit would be like a tax. It would just go right back into the city to make the buses free or to make whatever else free or cheaper, for colleges or whatever. Like, so if the city-owned or state-owned grocery store or whatever store was popping and making money, they could just use that money for the city.
And ultimately, it is easier for him to fan the flames of division than to acknowledge the ways in which he has betrayed those working class Americans, not just in this city, but across this country, and the ways in which he continues to betray them. Because we know that he would rather speak about me than speak about the legislation that he is shepherding through Washington, D.C. Legislation that will quite literally take health care away from Americans. Legislation that will steal food from the hungry. Legislation that looks to build upon one of the largest transfers of wealth we've seen in recent history in his first administration and do it once again for the very Americans who already have enough. We should be fighting for those that do not have what they need to live a dignified life. That is what I will do, and I am thankful to have the protection and to have the support of so many New Yorkers who have stood up and said how unacceptable this is, including our governor, including members of the labor movement. And ultimately, what I fear for is that if this is what Donald Trump and his administration feel comfortable about saying about the Democratic nominee for the mayor of New York City, imagine what they feel comfortable saying and doing about immigrants whose names they don't even know.
I mean, real talk. So they're going to ask him another question, but they're not going to let him answer, or they're not going to show the answer on this anyway. So we're not going to hear the question. I'm not going to listen to the question anyway. But yeah, so I agree with Zohran on most things that he says. I hope that he is honest to his word and that he's going to do the things that he says he's going to do. We shall see. We shall see if he gets voted in. I'm pretty sure he'll get voted in because of the way New York is. So give it a year and a half, and hopefully we have some city-owned grocery stores and see how that works. And as I agree with Zohran, I think he should be in the Green Party, as I just said. And I'm going to put this on the end of this because this is a short video, about two minutes. The Democrats, they're withholding their endorsements for Zohran. So I'm saying this socialist takeover of New York isn't going to go across the nation. That's my theory or thought.
Gelka in Washington, New York's Democratic Socialist mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani is defending his policies as his national profile grows.
I will be your Democratic nominee.
Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani's upset win in New York City's Democratic mayoral primary has caught the attention of both parties. The president is already threatening funding.
He's a communist. I think it's very bad for New York. If he does get in, I'm going to be president, and he's going to have to do the right thing.
I'm glad that people are starting to use the words again more, socialist and communist. People need to look this stuff up and see what these words actually mean.
They're not getting any money.
Mamdani's policies are also receiving scrutiny as he gets closer to running America's biggest city.
I don't think that we should have billionaires because, frankly, it is so much money in a moment of such inequality.
His campaign centers around affordability. Part of his official platform includes shifting the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods.
Explain why you are bringing race into your tax proposal.
That is just a description of what we see right now. It's not driven by race, it's more of an assessment of what neighborhoods are being undertaxed versus overtaxed. I'm just naming things as they are. And ultimately, the thing that motivates me in this is to create a system of fairness.
New Jersey's Republican.
And I mean, if the blacker neighborhoods were richer, if it was richer blacker neighborhoods, that'd be fine because they have more money, so tax them. If it was richer Mexicans and the Mexicans were the richer ones, or Hispanic, say richer Hispanic neighborhoods, that'd be fine because they got more money. Do you need to bring in race? Nah, probably not. Do you need to bring in richer? I mean, probably, like, it's just what he said. The richer northern neighborhoods, just because the richer neighborhoods are in the north. Like, just the more terms you put in, the more succinct you're being. But again, people like to play identity politics a little bit, so he did say it on purpose so that the right might get a little mad and that the left might get a little happy or whatever. But he's not doing anything specific to all white people. He's not going to tax poorer white people.
Republican candidate for governor invited New Yorkers opposing
Or
Mamdani's
poor white
tax
neighborhoods.
policies to cross the bridge and move. And the mayor of Boca Raton, Florida, says people and businesses are more than welcome to move further south. While Republicans
Do
have
it
been
up.
eager to make Mamdani's policies the new direction of the Democratic Party, high-ranking Democrats have held off endorsements. New York's Governor Kathy Hochul and both Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer and House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries have yet to endorse.
We don't really know each other well. Our districts don't overlap. I have never had a substantive conversation with him. And so that's the next step in terms of this process, to be able to sit down.
Some New York Democrats in competitive congressional districts have abandoned Mamdani out of fears his policies will drag them down. Others have tried to distance themselves on his globalized the Intifada comments on Israel, with Jeffries saying it's not acceptable phrasing and that Mamdani would need to convince Jewish New Yorkers he'll take on anti-Semitism.
Well, Mamdani's going around, I forget the guy's name, but the Jewish New York guy, and they're doing like a Jewish Muslim thing where they're going around talking to everybody, doing a unity thing. But since he brought up the global Intifada thing and the other stuff, Intifada means resistance. That's what the word means in, I think it's Hebrew. It could be another language, but whatever language it is, it means resistance. And so if someone was like global resistance or global stand-up or whatever, like global, just global resistance in any language, la resistance, right, in French, or I don't know what it is in Spanish, but if you said resistance in any language, it'd be fine. But because it's in Hebrew or whatever language they speak in Palestine, then it's bad. So I don't think that's cool. Like, you can, if you want to say global Intifada and say Intifada means resistance, then fine. That's cool, because we need a global resistance. We need the workers of the world to unite and resist the capitalists, resist these people holding us down, the bourgeoisie. So I agree with Zohran mostly and what's going on. We're going to look at some more videos from the actual right and left. I just wanted to get a video showing his own words and, I guess a little bit of people talking about him. But we're going to get more specific, or we're going to get more opinionated coming up from across the spectrum. Peace.